Hello and welcome to Traffic Paradise Radio. I'm Uno, and joining me today is Immy. Hello, Immy. How are you doing?
I am doing okay now, I think.
Yeah, slight technical issues. In case you haven't noticed, we're 11 minutes late. It was not intentional. Things just went really bizarre. The internet at my house just basically cut out, and I had to run around and like restart modems and everything. So yeah, but we're here, and that's what's important. And hopefully Lee will be joining us in a bit. She's busy doing important educational things, so forgiven for missing our third live stream. That's okay. But we have things to talk about and potentially even graphics to show you, depending on how
Maybe
not messed up we are right now. Maybe a few. Do we have anyone in the comments that's popping in to say hi? Okay. Oh, there's Eliza. Hello, Eliza. And Caitlin. Hello, hello, hello. So nice to see you all. And I think Willow is here as well. Tay is here. That's so nice to see you all. We love a graphic. Hi. Okay. I'm so glad you guys joined us. I was worried that you would all abandon us because we were late, but thank you for not abandoning us. That's very sweet of you. And Caitlin's still in hospital. Please get better so you can tune in, not in hospital, but we're very happy that you are taking the time out of your recovery period to spend with us. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong chat now. I'm reading Twitter chat. I'm like, that's not our chat. That has nothing to do with this. Okay, so we'll never miss the stream, never will. Thank you very much, Eliza. We love you. Okay, so we got some stuff to talk about today. Obviously, we've already discussed day 1 and day 2 in our previous streams. We will touch on that a little bit, but we wanted to put the focus on day 3 and the overall testing that happened this week, because there's some interesting takeaways. I'm not sure if we have all the graphics we wanted to show you, but we'll just talk you through it anyway. So I think, do we have day 3 graphics at all? Anything for day 3?
I will add that. I made this in a bit of a feverish haze while we were late, so enjoy.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. If I send you something, if I send you something on Discord, will you be able to upload it, Emmy?
I think so, yeah.
I've got a graphic from the FIA that you can put up. That's like the overall times of everyone that I wasn't able to capture just yet. Let me send that to you. But while I do that, let's have a look at today's results. So we had... I think that's the right one that I'm sending you. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Okay, I've just sent you 3 things. Find the right one. I apologize. Oh, okay. There's two pages. There's like the 1 to 10 and 11 to 20. Yes.
Yeah.
And ignore the one that says testing day 3 p.m. sessions because that's wrong. I wasn't supposed to send that one. Okay. So for Bahrain, preseason testing results day 3, George Russell topped the timesheets with 129.545, which seems... Please tell me the bus on track is mentioned on today's stream. It will be mentioned. Willow, don't worry. So George Russell topped the timesheets. Did he really, though? Yes, he did. Okay, that's so weird.
Yes, he did.
I'm like, wow, okay. So George did a great job there. Well done, George. And Max Verstappen
was... JPEGs. Sorry. It's not letting me upload it.
Maybe just open a new Canva thing and just like do something like that.
Okay, I will get this on our screens.
Okay, Emmy's going to be doing like WizKid stuff while I'm attempting to talk you through what happened. So George did well. He came P1. Max Verstappen was very close behind him, only 0.21 seconds behind. And Alex Albon in the Williams was third and only 1/10 and a bit behind George Russell. So again, we'll always put that little caveat. It's testing. It's not revealing the full truth of what the season will look like. But we would expect to see the Mercedes, the Red Bulls, the McLarens, the Ferraris at the top, and the Kick Saubers and such near the bottom. So you can start to see that thing is starting to develop in that way, that there's a definite split between the top teams and the bottom teams that we can see. And it's very interesting to me that Williams is hitting at the top with the top teams, because that's not where they were last year at all. I think their highest finish last year was 7th. So, obviously Alpine, they were beaten by Alpine, by Haas, by VCARB, by Aston Martin, and then the top 4 teams as well. So for them to maybe leapfrog into P5, in like 5th best of all the teams, would be a remarkable achievement. And yeah, I think there might be some people who are inclined to say that's Carlos's doing. I don't think that's true, because Alex Albon is right up there in P3 at the moment. So clearly something's happened at the factory that has, maybe what happened at the factory was a deciding factor in why Carlos signed with Williams, because he knew what was happening and what this year was gonna be for the team. Because they've clearly done some amazing things. Emmy, any thoughts on that, or are you still busy whiz kidding?
No, I'm done now. I mean, they
Okay,
definitely
sweet.
seem confident. I think the focus more that made Carlos want to sign with them was 2026. So the fact that they're showing something now is probably promising. I know they're bringing the same chassis from last year, so I don't know if throughout the season they'll keep any form they have, because they're focusing more on 26, because 25 isn't, the end of the regulation. You don't want to put everything into it. But it's definitely a good sign for Carlos.
Yeah. And so a few other notable things, I think, is that the Astons are kind of far down, P13, P16. The Saubers are kind of far down, P14 and P17. The Haas guys are split. There's 8th and P18. So it's a bit of a mixed bag there with Haas. I have a feeling Haas are not showing their hand at the moment. There's
Yeah,
something
I
going
think
on there.
they're kind of just doing their own thing, working on themselves and not caring about the times as
Mm,
much. But I mean, Esteban being in P8 is promising, because I think for the last 2 days they've sort of been nowhere at all, right at the bottom. So
mm,
even if Ollie was still doing that, and I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but he did have a piece of his bodywork fly off. So that
mm,
wasn't the most promising. But they have
yeah.
a good time on the board, at least.
Yeah. What is it? Something like the paper honeycomb Kevlar something. I don't know. They were talking about it, and I was just like, I have no idea what any of these things are, but it seems to be important because it flew off the car and it was a big problem. But yeah, I think Io Komatsu has something still up his sleeve that he hasn't quite shown to us yet. And then I think the other notable thing is obviously Alpine, Pierre Gasly in P5. That's interesting. Yuki Tsunoda, obviously my beloved. He was in P7, less than a second off the pace. A second gap seems quite large. Again, we don't know what setups they're running. Is it comparable? Really, we don't know. But he does seem to be confident that the car is what they expected it to be, bar one or two little things that they had to fix. So, I think the battle for sort of P5 this year is going to be between Williams, Alpine, and RB. Probably more between Williams and Alpine, but we'll see how it goes. There's obviously a lot of room for development throughout the season, as we saw with Alpine last year. Their car was terrible for most of the year, and then towards the end of the season, they were able to leapfrog the other teams. So, and I think they finished P6, right? Alpine.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Brazil helped them. They got a double podium, so that's always going
Yeah,
to help
I
you.
mean,
But
I don't know if they would have been P6 without Brazil, but Pierre at the end of the
mm,
season was still putting in quite convincing performances, finishing high in the
yeah,
points. So they
yeah,
had some end of season development that was really promising. And I know they're looking a hell of a lot better this year in testing than they were last year. So that's something for them to take away
absolutely.
and be happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. Tay in the comments is saying IO seemed happy with everything until the paper honeycomb delamination. That's the word, delamination. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I don't know what happened there. That's a very bizarre thing to happen on a car. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I can't remember seeing that on a car. Like, they didn't hit anything. It just came off itself. It wasn't like there was an outside force that acted upon it. It sort of happened to itself. So maybe just a defect, a manufacturing defect. I think they do outsource a lot of their production to other companies. So possibly someone did a weird thing with one of the pieces that they ordered. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure they'll study it and make sure it doesn't happen again. So
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I heard one of the commentators saying that something similar happened in a shakedown that they had. So I don't know if it was the same piece, if it's a issue they're having, but I sure hope it's fixed before Australia because that would be very problematic if something like that happened in a race.
Yeah, it's slightly. Okay, so it's happened twice. So maybe there
Yeah.
is something to worry about there. Okay. Caitlin in the comments saying if VCarb can pull off a P6 or P7 this year, I will be happy, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, what's annoying me with the VCarb thing is like at the beginning, well, I think by like the 5th race, so what, around about Miami, it was starting to look like VCarb could challenge Aston Martin for P5 in the championships. And they ended the season in P8. That's like such a fall. Like it's like, and we know that they took the wrong direction with their upgrades, So if they can sort of, a P6 this year would be great. It really would be. But we do have, so I don't think Aston Martin are going to be as much of a threat as they were last year. And by the end of last year, VCarb and Aston Martin were more or less on a par, maybe even VCarb the faster at some races. So, we'll see how it goes. But other than that, I don't think there's anything too notable about these timings. What I would like to do, if we've got it, do we
Yeah,
have the
we've got it, but
timings
then I
overall?
just realized that it's low-key really not readable to anybody that's not watching it on, like, a TV, so I'm resizing it, and we'll have it in a single second. Don't worry.
Okay, no, that's cool. That's cool. So let's ask everyone in the comments if they know who set the fastest time over all 3 days of testing. Let us know in the comments. We'll have a quick competition and
Ooh,
see who's
yeah,
right.
have a quiz.
Quiz. I think you can actually do that on some things.
Yeah,
You
I was
can write.
thinking about, like, how do you set up a poll, but how can we do it from
Tomo
here?
does that.
Yeah,
I gotta connect. Tomo does that.
okay.
So we've got Willow saying Carlos. I don't know if that's a pun or just a double S by accident.
I think that's right.
Carlos, Eliza, Carlos, George, maybe. No, Eliza, you were right the first time. It was in fact Carlos because Carlos was obviously not on track today. He did a double session yesterday, as did Liam Lawson. Aha, look at this. This is great. Wow, Emmy, you did a great job. These were literally just things I saved off of Twitter and sent to Emmy like 5 minutes ago. And look, it's already now on our stream. That's amazing. So if we look at the drivers' fastest times there, we'll see Sainz in first place with a 1:29.348. No, Willow says no. I'm just excited that he got it, so I made the name longer. Lol. Okay, fair enough.
I
So
think
yeah, Sainz. Yeah.
something to note here is that the top 3 times were from yesterday, which is when the circuit was a lot colder. And I was thinking, oh, day 3 is going to have the most representative times. We're going to have so much to chat about. And then Bahrain was back to being hot. There's no more rain, and everything was slower.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, if I'm thinking, like, let's for example, you know me, I'm always gonna. Oh God, I don't want to send Emmy anything. Sorry, I'm so bad with technology, guys. Literally, like 5 minutes before the stream, I was freaking out. Okay, so Yuki's time was a 1. God, I hate this way they've done this. I don't know if his time today. Yeah, I think his time today was his fastest time of all. It looks like it according to this. Yeah. So Yuki said his fastest time today, but as you said, like people like Science said it yesterday. So it does make me wonder. This was, for example, I'm just going to speak about Yuki for a bit. It was his first afternoon session. As Caitlin says, Stroll popped off there. Yes, he did P10, especially considering Alonso's in P16. Stroll did a great job. But again, all the caveats, etc., etc. It's just testing. But for example, Yuki only did one afternoon session. It was today. So I do wonder, if we take his lap time as an example, where would he have been had he set his lap time yesterday afternoon? You know, if Sainz's time was a 29.3 and Albon's time was a 29.6, there's a difference of 3/10 there. I personally don't think there's a 3/10 difference in their driving, Albon and Sainz.
No.
I think they're pretty close. Maybe half a tenth or 1/10, sure. So let's just say there's like a gain of 2/10. You know, that then starts to look interesting, because you take 2/10 off of Tsunoda's time, all of a sudden he's 400ths off of Lawson, you know, for example, in the Red Bull. And that's interesting. Lawson set his fastest time yesterday, 30.2. And Verstappen, I believe his time was today, was at 29.5. So that's 700ths almost of a second difference between, 7/10, between Verstappen and Lawson, which is huge. It's a lot bigger than the Perez gap, you know, again, caveat. But
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you can start to infer things, you know. If the gap to Lawson is that big now, and Lawson set his lap time on a day where the track was faster, you know, now it starts to get a bit interesting as to what is the dynamic between teams and between drivers within those teams. Because I think, yeah, you know, looking at the Williams guys, they're a lot closer than the Red Bull guys. The Ferrari guys, there's, what's that? 500ths between them. It's nothing, you know. It's 0.05 of a second difference. So yeah, I just think there's some interesting data there that maybe someone with more math skills than me would be able to extrapolate more from it. But I find it interesting. Tay in the comments is saying still not as fast as the 2 fastest quali times at Bahrain last year. And also Red Bull had major setup changes this morning to be fair. Yeah, that's another thing, Tay. That's a very good point. So the work that Lawson put in yesterday could very well have been the deciding factor in Verstappen doing so much better today, because they got data and they were able to apply that and change Max's setup to make his car even better. So that's a very good point. Thank you, Tay. What else do we have to chat about? We've got
We have another design.
Oh, okay.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Okay. I'm very excited to see what. So usually we have all of this stuff sorted out before the live stream happens, but today that did not happen. So Emmy's going to surprise me with all the things she's managed to put together while I've been hosting here. Piastri faster than Norris is interesting. Gee, is it interesting, Emmy? Is that interesting to you?
I mean, I would like to say, well, Norris ran in the morning and the afternoon is better temperature for quick laps. So better running. And yeah, that's my view.
No, just like, of course, he's my goat. None of that. Just
I'm unbiased here, okay? I may be repping right now. But
PSG.
yeah,
The,
I gave him too much money. But I'm unbiased, okay? I mean, Lando was faster the first 2 days, but Oscar was doing lots of other sort of non-quali run testing. Because I mean, you can't really draw any, "Oh, so and so's washed, so and so's amazing," conclusions from testing because you don't know the fuel loads, the engine modes, if there are any sensors on the car.
mm,
That's all weight. I mean, the fuel and the sensors, not the engine, but
yeah. I've forgotten how to spell bus. Ignore me. Haha. Okay. Hello. Bus? Bus or double S. Okay. Davis Races. Hello, David. Davis Races. I keep saying David. That's not your name. I apologize. Davis Races says pastry. I don't know if that's an intentional typo or not, but it's funny
I imagine.
nonetheless. But yeah, let's have a look at some of the things that happened today. A pane of glass fell out of the starter box thing. I don't know quite the exact official term for that thing, but it's where they push the start button and where they wave the checkered flag at the beginning and end of a race. And a pane of glass just fell out today onto the track. Very bizarre.
Oh god.
Yeah. Anything to say about that?
I mean, I remember the commentators were theorizing if it like blew out or if somebody pushed it out. I imagine it was not hot enough for the pane to shatter by itself. But it's oh my god, I was like watching this in the background while I was studying in school and I kept flipping over. I was like, why is there a red flag again? It's like I switched my screen right as the bus was rolling out on the replay. I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it was very odd. I don't know how that happened, but yes, then of course we got the bus, which was there. Do we know yet why?
I don't think we do. All I know is, did it take a wrong turn? Can you take a wrong turn onto a live circuit in 2025? I feel like that's not something that should happen. That's it was not supposed to be there. That's for sure. And it was not like an authorized paddock tour or anything.
So sorry, I see something in the comments. My name is David. Dad, I want some ice cream. David, where is my ball? Didn't Eliza share something like that on the group chat the other day? I'm sure there's something like that. It's like some weird meme thing from like the younger generation.
I have
Yeah,
no
I don't know.
recollection. I wanna
Caitlin says,
see
imagine being on a commute and you go onto the circuit. Haha. Yeah, nice. It's the Eliza shots. My name is David. Okay, it was definitely an Eliza thing. Okay. Sorry, Emmy, you were going to say it?
I was gonna say, people were writing articles about this, so I thought maybe there was more about the bus, but there isn't. It's just, "Oh, and it appeared." Thanks. I read that and I watched all of your little side on the side adverts for nothing. But okay.
I think I may have triggered Eliza because now
Oh
the
my
entire
gosh.
chat is just Eliza shouting
I I very
about
much
the
so do
ball
not
and
get the
ice.
reference.
I don't. I think it's Five Nights at Freddy or something. That's maybe just. I don't know.
Oh.
I think
I
it
feel
was like
like
a
I know
song.
now. Or
Like
is it like it's like when somebody's burning alive or something, I swear. Or no, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Lots of people
I
do
don't
weird stuff in
know.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, so we had some interesting things that happened. Obviously, you also we already mentioned the Haas incident, and then there was also some sort of quad bike on track for a bit. Yes,
Oh,
but no.
yeah.
Davis Racer says yeah. So yeah, there was enough drama to activate the memes. I did see a lot of yeah, just comments about the bus and how it might be from different teams. I know I tweeted, is this the Sauber upgrade? I thought maybe that was like an improvement on their car last year and they were just testing it out on track. I know someone rather unfortunately said, oh, look, Lance Stroll is doing a lap now, which I thought was a bit unkind. Yeah, people seem to have fun with it. And I think that's an aspect of like this testing that maybe isn't as spoken about, but it's a really really fun time for the fandom online. To just because there's not a lot happening, and you kind of just roll with what you get, and people make funny memes. There's lots of running jokes about everything. I know the VCarb admin are doing tons of like weird meme-worthy TikTok videos, which I have no clue what they mean. Something about Scooter Brothers, and I don't know. It's very odd stuff. But I think everyone's having fun. It's a fun time because we will start crying very soon when Q3 for the Australian Grand Prix rolls around.
When
We'll all
things
be in
start
tears.
mattering, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not fun anymore.
yeah. It will be yeah. So yeah, it was we'll just enjoy the fun while we can. But are we ready to move on to like the stories we had, the other like non-testing stories?
Yes, if you give me like 1 second, I can put it on a graphic as well.
Sweet. Okay. So
I have one image at least.
Okay, so let's ask everyone in the comments. According to you, which team do you think? Now, they didn't necessarily have to set the fastest times or whatever, but which team do you think you've seen a massive improvement from last year to this year? Let us know in the comments. I can think of two that I'm pleasantly surprised by, but I want to see what other people are saying here. So we've got Williams from Eliza, or maybe Haas, she says. Alpine or Williams, says Caitlin. Willow says Williams. Davis Races says Alpine. Yeah. What do you think? Or Immy, I'll tell you my thing because you're probably doing something. So I think I was going to go with Williams and Mercedes. Are two teams that have stood out to me because I know on Wednesday during our live stream, I said to Kira, like, I didn't think Mercedes was going to be all that good this year. And I've been relatively impressed by their performance here. Again, all the usuals is just testing. But yeah, I still think they've done something interesting. Williams obviously is sort of the talk of the town at the moment. Obviously, there's that question of, are they pushing as hard as they can and the other teams are not? And that's why Williams looks as impressive as they are, or has something amazing happened there and they've really turned the corner and found a new way of doing things? Davis says Haas are looking scarily can't finish that. I'll just say Haas are looking scarily bad. I will and yeah, I have to agree, Davis. That does sound about right. We don't quite know, are they sandbagging? We hear that term a lot. For anyone who doesn't know, that means like they're not performing at their peak, at their full potential. Tay says Williams are trying to impress their new sponsors. That's true. See, and that same thing can be said for Alpine, because now there's lots of rumors about a team being sold. There was a few tweets that I've seen from various sort of F1 personalities and commentators that, not like the people on like Sky F1 or whatever, but just people who in general who speak a lot about Formula One. Few people either predicting that Alpine are going to sell, or people who are downright saying like a team is going to be sold, watch this space kind of thing. So it could be that both of those teams are very much putting in these fast laps and pushing, maybe because there's things like fuel loads and everything that they can fiddle around with. I don't believe they have any I don't think anyone's checking the weight of the cars or anything at the moment, right?
Oh, well, no. Yeah, none of these numbers, we just have to guess. I think, honestly, it might be Alpine. I mean, they're moving to a Mercedes engine. They seem to be winding down their junior program. Abby Pilling just left it today. And I mean, they don't really have anyone because they have like 3 reserve drivers, so none of them are in the junior program anymore because they're reserve drivers. It's not looking good for them.
Yeah. even like, I kind of, I tweeted a few weeks ago. I said, like, if I were Pierre Gasly, I'd be worried because I don't think they actually care about him or
I
like
mean,
his career. I think
but
they care about selling the
if
team.
if he keeps putting in performances like he did at the end of the year, they have no good reason to get rid of him. Because a good, consistent driver is always good for a team.
Yeah. Caitlin, we will talk about Yuki's new management. It's on our list of things to talk about. Don't worry. Sorry, I just saw that comment. Sorry, Immy, what did you just say? I zoned out. I'm sorry.
I did
I
not say
completely
anything,
lost
but
my
I
train
would
of
like
thought.
to add. So
Yeah.
don't start hearing voices.
Okay.
But I do think there's something to look at with Ferrari because they winded down their testing like an hour before the end of the session. Lewis Hamilton said he was going to do a race run, but he never did. So I wonder if they're unhappy with the car, if there's something up with the car. I think they've been having balance issues. So maybe not the happiest sort of testing week-ish for Ferrari.
Hmm. Yeah. I think also, there's 2 weeks left until Australia.
Yeah.
That's a considerable amount of time for teams with this amount of data and resources behind them to make significant changes. Obviously, they're not going to redesign the whole car, but they might be thinking, oh, this didn't work, that didn't work. We do have this other design for a front wing, for example. We could probably print a couple out. We could not print. I don't know. Maybe they 3D print them. Who knows? We could probably. Australia mentioned Tay's happy about that. Yeah, they could make new parts. Definitely, certain parts of the car could definitely be remade in the next 2 weeks and shipped off to Australia to be ready for the Grand Prix there. So I don't think anything's definitive at this moment.
Yeah.
Basically, the last half an hour was just us saying we don't know anything. But
we can
neither
try
does
based on
anybody else. Neither does
yeah.
anybody else, and that's so. It's not like we're the only ones who are bullshitting around. No one knows what's happening. No one. The teams do. I would imagine they know what's happening with their own car, but probably not even what's happening with their nearest rivals. So yeah. And I think, pleasing sponsors at this stage of the year is probably a high on their priority list. So a lot of things can be faked. Taylor asks, will Williams have enough cars this year? What do you think, Emmy?
I mean, if they can not crash every race this year, then maybe we'll be okay, And not to say anything bad about Alex and Carlos, but they weren't the most clean last year. So I think every Williams mechanic will be praying.
Yeah, Alex got into a few. He seemed to, he actually took out 2 VCOB cars last year, at least. Mexico and
Japan.
Was it Japan or was it
Daniel.
Australia? I know. Yeah. Was it Japan?
Or did Daniel take him out? Yeah, that was Japan.
It was a racing incident, first lap,
Racing
first corner
incident,
thing.
yeah.
Same thing in Mexico. It wasn't really anyone's fault. It
Yeah.
just kind of happened, But yeah, he did become very problematic for my team. I'm not gonna lie, but I think Haas caused more damage to my team than Williams did. I would wager. Haas were very problematic for my team last year. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that dynamic will play out because, first of all, obviously last year Alex was their number one driver. It was very clear to see. We saw it with Logan, the amount, like the parts he would get on his car, the fact that he had to give his car up for a race so that Alex, who had crashed his own car, could compete, and then all of that and no points gained. Very problematic time. James Vowell looked terrible when he did that. And while it's arguable that the decision to drop Logan Sargent was correct, I think they could have definitely gone about the earlier part of the season very differently. and maybe they would have been able to help Logan actually perform at the level they needed him to.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
I mean,
yeah, but I
that
think
can be a long debate, but for sure, saying we think you're so bad, we'd rather give your car to someone else because they have a chance of scoring points and you don't is it's not a confidence booster
not at
at
all, not at
all.
all, not at all. I feel really bad for the guy. I always said,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know if he had one, but I always said, like, Williams should invest some time in a sports psychologist because I think they've ruined that kid and he's probably needs a
Mhm.
psychologist to help get out. Yeah, and there's obviously also the he's left. What is it? EMS, ESM,
Elms?
Elms. That's it. I got 3 of the 4
European Le
letters
Mans.
right. Yeah. I got 3 of those 4 letters right.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, he left that. He's out of that now of his own volition. So I don't know what's going on with Logan, but we do wish him the best.
Yeah.
I know it was one of our first ever news stories that we properly did was him leaving, and
Oh,
I
it
was very sad.
was.
I
Oh,
even made like a
that's sad.
sad little like America tribute
Didn't you get,
with
like,
like
copyright claimed for that?
yes, I did. I did. Yes. Yes. It's fine. The video's still up. You can go see it. It's like one of our first videos that we did. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th one.
I think it's the
It's,
3rd,
it's a
yeah.
short one. Yeah, it's a very short one. But yeah, so Logan, we love you, bro. Keep your head up and just stay away from your Trump voting family. But other than that, let's move on to before we
Okay.
talk about Yuki's
Oh,
manager, we have to talk about Susie Wolf because Susie Wolf is rumored to be considering a run for FIA president. What do you think about that?
now my thought process here is she even eligible? Is there not some sort of conflict of interest with the fact that she is obviously with Toto Wolff, who is obviously the team principal of Mercedes? Um, and I'm not trying to insinuate that she would do anything for him because I don't think she would. But there is surely some sort of level of you just don't ever want that to coexist. Like so I don't know how she'd go about that, and I mean, it's obviously something you have to be voted into, so even if she was eligible. Thank you, Eliza. Even if she was eligible, um, like, would people wanna put their confidence in her if they think she might, uh, be, like, pro Toto?
See, I think there's an interesting thing here because people have tried that argument and it blew up in their faces last year. Remember, there was that article written by some random publication. I love your hair too. Thank you. My eyebrows are looking lovely. Yeah, there was and it received a lot of backlash because she was accused of having a conflict of interest and passing on like secret information to Toto or something like that.
Like, a couple years
And
ago.
it
Yeah.
was last year. Remember, all the
Was
teams
it?
got together. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was last year.
I thought wait, um, was it when Ben Sulayem ordered an inquiry? That was 2023.
Was it 23?
Yeah.
Time just moves so fast these days. I don't know. Okay, so within the last 18 months, let's just say that sounds about probably accurate. Maybe 2 years, who knows? Last decade, even, I don't know. Just before the 2024 season. Okay, thank
That's
you,
why it feels
David
like last
Spaces.
year.
So it was post 2023 season, but maybe not maybe still 2023 itself. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so there was a lot of blowback from that, and the F1 teams in their entirety released statements supporting her, which is interesting. I think she has enough integrity that people can see in her. You know, I don't know the woman, but I can see how people reacted to that, and the way they stood up for her tells me she's has a lot of integrity. So I think that will play in her hand because Ben Sulayem does not have integrity. We've
Yeah,
seen
go on.
him like he has conflicts of interest,
Yeah.
like didn't he went around telling Max to like remember, because there was that like the bit of the Red Bull drama at the beginning of last year, and he went and he shook Christian Horner's hands and it made a very visible display of affection and solidarity with Christian Horner, who had been accused of horrendous things. And one wonders, like, is that not a conflict of interest? And so if you're going to accuse Susie Wolf of a conflict of interest, or the presumption of one, then I think you got to talk about Mohammed bin Sulayem's real conflict of interest that he displays often and without any sort of shame. So yeah, I don't know. I think something to consider.
I don't think anyone's arguing that he should still be there. He needs to go. And I would vote for Susie. I wouldn't personally think she'd have any conflict of interest. I mean, evidently, if there was anything going in Mercedes' favor, it would be quite obvious that it was happening. So anybody who's respectable in a respectable position wouldn't be doing that.
But like the president of the FIA, what real interaction with Mercedes would they have? They would be interacting with Formula One, but would they really be interacting with teams?
Well,
or would they rather be interacting with like the GPDA or whatever it might be?
If Ben Sulayem was interacting with Christian Horner, Red Bull, then it could happen. I mean, I don't know what he could actually do for them. But
that's more like me. Like, what can they do? Like, like
I don't know.
Like, I get that they interact. Yeah, they go to the events and they do the photo ops, and there's awards and galas and whatever. Yeah, they interact, but like, can they do anything for each other? Like, it seems, I don't know. I can see. I mean, they don't. The president doesn't set the rules for Formula One. There's like committees and shit that do that. The president is like a figurehead that sort of helps to lead the organization, but they don't set policy. They don't, she's not in charge of issuing George Russell a 10-second penalty or not, So I don't even think if there was like an appeals process, it would even get to her if she was the president, so I don't know.
Her. We need someone with a level head.
We just need not him. We just don't need that man. Because the FIA has been led by some terrible people. Like, okay, I know there's minors in the chat, so I'm going to be very careful what I say. But like, let's just say like there's some Nazi fantasy role playing things have happened in the past in the FIA. Like very dodgy stuff. Oh, actually, no, Eliza knows about it. She studied it in high school. It's fine. But yeah, there were some dodgy things that have happened in the FIA before, and I think that they need to change how people perceive them, and I think Susie Wolf would be a great choice for that. Eliza asks, what does the FIA do except for or other than F1? Immy, you want to take that?
Well, Formula E, like rally.
Yep.
Oh my god, what else? World Endurance.
F2, F3.
The Rally Cross, and there's 2 rallies. One of them's like in the desert. F2, F3, does it cover the
F1
regionals
Academy.
as well? Oh, F1 Academy. So. I feel like I missed something probably.
Yeah. So the FIA, so they're obviously their main thing is obviously motorsports, but they're also involved in like accrediting tracks and facilities to be used for these series. So you need to have like an FIA graded circuit. So for example, in South Africa, we're trying to bring a Grand Prix back here, and we have to get our Kyalami track up to standard, and the FIA will come and inspect it and decide whether or not it's suitable for example, a Formula One race, because obviously it needs all the facilities in the pit lane and for the media and obviously for the fans. But then on top of that, it also needs to be able to accommodate the support series at the same time. So the FIA will sort of also do things like that and check out those sorts of things. And then they also do a lot of grassroots work and outreach to help foster sort of racing communities around the world, I guess. things like that.
Are you getting electricity issues fixed soon? Because I don't think that's going to go in your favor for a track.
Excuse me, Bahrain's power went off during testing.
But that
Don't
was not
even.
scheduled.
No, trust me, we know how to keep the power on when it has to be on. Like when there's international guests, we keep the power on. It's all good. That's why we love it when there's a big event happening in South Africa, because we all know for the next month we're not going to have any electricity issues, because they're going to burn those diesel motors. They're just going to keep burning that diesel, and we're going to have power for days. Yeah, no, they'll make sure. The week before, the week after the F1, there will be tons of electricity. The weeks after that, not so much. But y'all will be gone by then. So, you know, the tourists will be gone and they won't have to deal with it. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we do what we can. We're not the only country that struggles with electricity issues. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I believe even California has issues with electricity. So I'm just gonna say. And they are almost the biggest economy in the world. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, Susie Wolf, go girl, go. We need some women power up in here. I think we can move on to our next slide.
Oh, if we have a next slide, what do we want to do next?
We haven't. Yuki's manager. Do we not have pictures?
Yeah, I just started
it.
that. I jumped the gun too late, evidently. Oh no!
How do you run out of electricity? Eliza's asking me, how do you run out of electricity? While Immy finds us a picture of Yuki's new manager, I will explain how electricity runs
What's his
out.
name? Oh, I'll find it. Don't worry. Keep going. I found it. We're good.
Diego. Yeah,
Diego
something.
I will get a picture.
So Eliza, imagine you have a battery, okay? And that battery can power let's just say a torch, okay? But you run a cord, you run like a wire from that battery, and you also use it to charge your phone, okay? So now that battery that was designed to just run a torch is now running a torch and a phone. And then now you decide, oh, I actually also want to charge my laptop with this battery. And so you run a cable to your laptop. Now this battery that was designed just to power a torch is being used to power other things as well. And on top of that, maybe the battery's kind of old. Maybe the little sort of USB thingies where you plug things in, those are a bit dirty. They haven't been looked after. So things start to go a bit wrong. Maybe there's sparks. Maybe things aren't powering the same way. And eventually you have to decide, okay, well, I have these three things in this one battery. I have to choose something to turn off so I can keep this other thing going. And that's basically what South Africa does with load shedding. We have power that goes to some communities and then it turns off and it goes to other communities. For the most part, throughout the day, the power is on. Why not get another battery? Okay, so it's not like you just go to the local shop and buy one. You have to build an entire power station, which is a big undertaking and can take up to a decade to do. We have done those things, but there were problems with the ones that we built, and they had to be redone because they were built improperly, let's just say. I don't know if it was intentionally or it was just a poor design choice, but they didn't work the way they were supposed to, and they had to be taken offline and redone. So that's where we are at the moment. There's also, I don't want to get too into it because it's like historical and very political, but when the apartheid government built electricity stations, they're only built for the white people. So they only made enough power to run businesses and white people's homes. They never accounted for the millions upon millions of more people who needed electricity. So when we became a democracy, our democratic government inherited a good electricity system, but one that would not cater to everyone in the country. And they've been playing catch up ever since. As our population grows and more people have money to build houses for themselves, etc., so does our demand for electricity grows, and we've outgrown the pace that we can produce electricity. That's essentially what's happened. It's a little socio-economic, political lesson
and
about
just in
South
time
Africa.
for the
There
slide.
we go. There we go. Okay, so who asked for was it Caitlin or Willow? I can't remember.
Caitlin, I think.
Who asked? Was it Caitlin? I'm going to scroll up and just check here. Yeah, Caitlin asked about Yuki's new manager. So yes, indeed, Yuki does have a new manager. His name is Diego Chaka. I don't know how to say that surname. Diego. We love Diego. So Willow asked for the bus. Yes, you did, Willow. That's right. Okay. So this is Yuki's new manager. He is quite young, 30 years old. Well, at least it's young for me. For y'all, he's probably old. But yeah, I thought he was quite young to be a manager. He has some racing experience of his own. He's raced in open wheel series, which is nice because he understands what's going on. That's very cool. And he works so he doesn't just work by himself. He's part of a management agency, which includes the guy that manages Franco Colapinto. And we've seen that they've been able to do some pretty good things with Franco. Okay. First of all, there's the sponsorship deals that he has, which obviously come with a lot of money. And there's also, they've negotiated some good terms for that kid, because we all know that it's likely that Franco Colapinto will race again this year for Alpine, whether it's because Alpine's being bought and they want Franco or whatever the reason is. Franco is getting that Alpine seat sooner or later. And I think that's in large part due to the people who are negotiating on his behalf. He's a kid. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the skills to negotiate such huge deals for himself, So I'm pretty sure that management agency has played a big part. And if they can do the same for Yuki Tsunoda, a guy who is essentially now the face of Formula One in Asia, especially now that Zhou Guanyu has left. Alex Albon is there, yes, but he also has like a dual citizenship with Britain, so he's kind of half British, half Thai. I think Yuki is also the most marketable Asian driver, I would say, out of all of them in every series. Obviously, I'm a bit biased, but he's great with the sponsors that he does have, with the brands that he works with. He does amazing content for them. And I think that an agency that's managed to do what they've done for Franco Colapinto could do some great things for his career. So I think it's a good thing. What do you think, Immy?
Yeah, Miss Sunflower says that Diego won the 24 Hours of Dubai, which I think is a really little fun tidbit.
That's cool.
I wanted to find a picture of him looking more managerial, but I almost pasted a picture of somebody else called Diego. So good thing I avoided that. But yeah, I mean, reports have been that he's come in and he's instantly building a relationship with Helmut and putting in a lot of effort. And so for me, that shows the sign of a really good manager. And I think Yuki can probably go a lot further with somebody who, not to discredit his previous managers, but they obviously didn't do a good job. So Yuki can go further with Diego, and this gives me a lot of hope for him securing a seat next year, because he's obviously realized that part of the problem is his management. And the fact that he's taking those steps and reassessing where he is and not just sticking with what he has and knows shows how much he really wants to cement himself on the grid. And so I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I think the fact that he was kind of locked into that VCARB seat and he wasn't given the opportunity to leave, and then on top of that being denied the Red Bull seat, and then having Christian Horner first of all lie about your test runs and then say, oh well, I don't even know why Yuki's here. Why is he still here? Oh my gosh, who did this? Who made sure that this kid was still here? Like it wasn't him that fucking did it. Oh god, I swore. Whoops. Whoopsie.
That was a valid swear.
Yeah, fair enough. I think he's sort of realized now that his future is no longer at Red Bull. And as much as they might speak about him, moving up if things don't go right for Liam, etc., I don't see it happening. I'll be honest. Even if Liam's terrible, I don't see them promoting Yuki.
I'll probably someone who's Isaac.
Or bring in Arvid Lindblad.
Yeah.
from
They
F2.
don't want
So
him in that Red Bull.
no, they don't. And it kind of sucks because also, I think one person who's sort of been sort of forgotten about in this whole thing is Ayumu Iwasa, because he's also a Red Bull
Yeah.
Junior. And he's the reserve driver now for VCARB, which theoretically in the past would mean that he would be the driver next year. If Yuki left, it would be Ayumu who takes, but no one even talks about that because everyone knows he's not getting that seat. And it's like really sucks because like, come on, it's just, it's terrible. I feel really bad for both of them. Honda obviously has helped a lot in their careers, but in this case, I think it's really hindered them. And it is what it is, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do for Yuki, because I think Yuki's decided it's time to move on from Red Bull. So Diego, we look forward to your work, and you better I want like that. That movie, gosh, this is showing my age now, with Tom Cruise, and he's like, "Show me the money." Have you seen that meme before? Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not.
Okay, he plays like a sports agent, like a sports
Well, maybe
managing agent
I've seen the
person.
meme, but I've not seen the movie.
Yeah, and then it's got and then him and Renee Zellweger, and then she's like, "You had me at hello" or something. It's like, okay,
Oh,
yeah,
that is recognizable.
yeah,
I
you
will
had me at
say
hello from that.
Yuki's evil contract that locked him in VCARB for a year. Ugh. That contract, the fact that that existed and that clause existed, I wonder if that's in part why he dropped his management, because agreeing to a clause like that is so, like, limiting to him, especially when he wanted to leave.
Yeah.
I'll never get over that clause.
It was so evil. And especially if you look at the way it was announced, it was done so early in the season. Like everyone was kind of taken back. We're like, what do you mean we're announcing this in Canada? Like,
Yeah.
that's weird. And everyone was kind of a bit taken aback. And it was like basically Red Bull. There's two theories on that. One was it was Red Bull trying to keep him because he's good for VCARB, and they didn't want to lose him because he's good for points for that junior team. But another side of it is they were trying to get those teams that were interested in him to pay more to get him out of the contract. So they saw an opportunity to make some money, which feels very rotten to me. Like, just
Yeah.
let the kid go, But it is what it is. And I will say this, he's changed his helmet this year. It's no longer got that Red Bull blue, navy blue color.
It's so beautiful. I love that helmet.
But it feels like he's sort of made a conscious decision to move away from that identity that he's had, because he's had that color on his helmet for a while and he's let go of it now. And I mean, it all makes sense when you saw him doing the test last year. You understood why his helmet was that color, because he put on the Red Bull racing suit. He was in the Red Bull car, and that helmet matched perfectly. Every color on that helmet was on the car,
beautiful as well.
And you could see it was always an aspiration of his. He wasn't, to him, he was never just a Honda driver. He was a Red Bull driver. And I think now he doesn't have that mentality anymore. I think he's gone, I'm not this thing anymore. I'm going to find something else. And I certainly hope it's in F1. But if not, I'm sure he'll do well if he has to go to another series, even if it's just for a year or two and then return.
Yeah. Could always do something like Nico. Because he was out for... Yes. Yeah, not Rosberg.
I was thinking Rosberg.
He was out for a couple of years in a reserve role, and then he came back, and now he's sort of one of the figureheads of this new development at Audi, and he has a good couple of years at least in him still.
Yeah.
So it's just all about finding the opportunities, and sometimes they don't come, but they could still be there. I'd hope maybe the same for a driver like Zhou, who's a reserve at Ferrari now, if he could keep that momentum going.
Wouldn't it be amazing if Zhou and Yuki got signed at Cadillac next year? Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. Okay. Let's just quickly go back to the comments. I haven't been looking at them. I'm sorry. Let's just see what y'all have been saying. Eliza says Yuki is the cutest. Tay says marketable to young people. Yuki for a Nintendo sponsorship. That just seems natural. I don't know why they haven't gone for that. Yuki Luigi. Depends which kind of Luigi, not the shooting kind, although there would be valid targets and reasons. Yuki should do mega sponsorship so he can get a seat for 2026. Absolutely. Also, Diego was recommended to Yuki. So which driver was it who told Yuki? My bet's on Checo or Kevin. Checo or Kevin. Remember there was that clip of Kevin and Yuki talking last year, and Kevin was like, cool,
Yeah.
you know? Who knows? Who knows?
Might be
Yeah,
Kevin.
yeah. Tay says Red Bull potentially ruined his career. Caitlin, yeah, K-Mag the advisor. Yeah, I love Ayumu. Ayumu might go. That contract was pure evil. Yuki in Super Formula with Ayumu. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'd be there so I could watch him race. That would be awesome. For those of you who missed yesterday's show, I'm moving to Japan in a couple of weeks, and I'm very excited to go watch Super Formula. But it would be very cool if Yuki does it next year. If he out of F1, I would rather he stay in F1. Let me just make that very clear. Yuki doing IndyCar for a year and comes back in 2027. Give Yuki a gun. Eliza says, okay. I think maybe that's where we should end it. Just bordering on supporting vigilante violence, but not quite condoning it. I think that's a fine way to end the show. Was there anything else we were supposed to talk about that we forgot, or did we get through everything?
I think pretty much everything. If I can have a tangent for a minute, I don't know if I can get the images up. Let's see. It's not going to work. Oh my god, it will. Never mind. Okay, I'm just going to get up an image here. Yeah. Okay, here we are. Do you see this garage door, right? It's obviously Charles' garage. Yeah. What is that font? What is that top font? Why are we doing everything in italics? Yeah. And it's like that for every driver's first name. I also saw it come up, like Fernando Alonso had a stats graphic during testing today, and Fernando was in the swirly italic. It's like we're juggling 12 fonts. They're on the garages, they're on the backgrounds of the press conferences. Why are we living like our best Instagram, Pinterest life right now? It's just so misaligned. It's so misaligned with every other font and every other graphic. And you've already spoken about the graphics. I also really don't like them. I don't know if you said that, but I don't like them.
Yeah. No, we spoke about it. I think it was yesterday or the day. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. We were speaking about how like
things.
There's certain aspects of the new graphics which I do appreciate, like the fact that the timing board is a darker background because it helps to see the text more, which is important when you're on like a phone or a smaller screen, because sometimes harder to read those things. So like those things I think are positive changes. But then they went and changed like the graphic for the radio, and they changed the graphic on the lower third for the driver's names. And like that wasn't something that needed to be changed. That was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Like I feel like they're just changing things because, which to me is like antithetical to a brand like Formula One, because Formula One has an identity. And now?
Yeah, I've brought up the press conference one, and you can see the Sakir in the background.
Okay, I see that. Sorry, I thought we were looking at body language, because Lewis looks like he's just been like... Honestly, it kind of looks like Yuki, Liam, and Oscar have had a little argy-bargy, and Lewis is sitting there like, woo! Because he's got this like naughty sort of smile on his face, and the rest are all just looking kind of awkward.
I had a 2024 press conference one as well for comparison, but the format is not compatible, so I can't upload it. But I'm sure you can all... Yuki's feet don't touch the ground. Thank you, Tay.
I know, that's in every single photo of him. His feet never touch the ground. I'm like, one day they will give him a seat that will actually like fit him, because it's so unfair.
Like, I'm sure you can sort of cast your memory back to last year and remember the font that was cohesive. Like with the preseason testing that's over there in big, blocky, bold Formula One font. That's recognizable. Why are we doing it? It's like a pencil. Like the way the text is textured.
Hold on. Is that not very similar to the font that we first had on as our Traffic Paradise Radio graphic?
It is.
Is it not very similar to that?
Actually.
And then we changed to the neon font. Trendsetters. Although we dropped that because I liked it, but not everyone did. And we went for a different vibe. So
And
fair
it's just
enough.
like, this is great for us. Formula
Mm.
1 is not the vibe, and it's the colors. Why so like pale? I'm gonna put this one back up.
Yeah.
And the yellow here is I just especially don't like Ferraris. It's just illegible, to be honest. You had a good thing going. Do we
Yeah.
need do we need
Yeah,
2
it's not
fonts on the
necessary. I
garage
don't
door?
need Charles there. Leclerc is there. I know who it is. There's a picture and his surname. I got it. Like, I don't need more info than that, you know? It's good.
It's just honestly kind of cringe.
Okay,
Like,
Caitlin, I need you to start that hashtag. Give Yuki a step stool 2025. That's a
and also,
good
yeah,
hashtag.
Tay just mentioned why are there 2 pictures. Were there not 2 pictures last year? Because that also seems a bit excessive. There's like a
Yeah.
face shot and then a glamour shot.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like the picture next to the 16, they could have just had that and then taken the other one off.
Or the other one seems more professional. Like, that's
Yeah, but like I like the sort of more candid sort of looking off
okay.
into the. I like that. That's nice. It's just
Yeah, it's just
I generally don't like posed photos. I know that's probably also posed, but like
yeah, it's
look into
definitely
the
posed.
camera and it's just like, oh.
I mean, for the sake of Formula 1, I don't mind that because that's like the default shot, you know? And to me,
Mm,
that makes sense. Oh yeah, also, I've just noticed that the pictures are completely different sizes.
mm.
And the left one, Charles' head is like cut off.
It's also a lot of shade. There's a lot of
Yeah,
shadow here. Yeah. Yeah,
it's
they're not
it's just
ideal.
when it's not broken, don't fix it, I think. And
Yeah.
it wasn't broken. The graphics were fine. You know, the garage doors were fine. The graphics, maybe there was some stuff that was worth changing. The garage doors, the font of the background of the press conference, we didn't need to go italic.
Yeah. No, fair, valid point. Graphic design is my passion, says Caitlin. Yes.
Evidently.
Yeah,
Okay.
it seems like
I've had my moment
everyone is
now.
in
I can step
agreement
off
with
my
you, Immy. I
soapbox.
think you had a valid points there, so thank you. But I do believe it's now time to say goodbye. So, thank you to everyone for tuning in to Traffic Paradise Radio. We hope that you enjoyed the show, and we thank you very much. Please do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel or following us on Twitter. You can also join us on Discord. All the links should be in the description. You can join us on Discord to say hey. You can also chat to us on Twitter. We have threads as well, where I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I don't have threads, but someone in our team has threads and they communicate there too. And I think Willow does it. And yeah, other than that, thank you. We will be back quite soon, within the next few days, I would imagine, to do. When are we doing season predictions? Within
I'm
the
gonna
next week.
say the weekend.
This weekend or next weekend?
Well, because next weekend is the weekend before Australia. Unless you want to do it next weekend, we could. Next weekend.
We could do both. It will be
We could.
within the
We'll
next
figure
2
it out.
weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, there will be 2 episodes, one predicting the season and one predicting what will happen at the Australian Grand Prix. And we'll make sure they're out before the Australian Grand Prix starts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Immy, you want to start that music off for us?
Yes,
I
I
don't know if
do.
it's going to mess with my microphone.
It didn't. Cool.
Now you can. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day. Immy, get ready to cue that video. Bye-bye.
You never told me this.
The rolling road, the rolling road, the rolling road. There we go. Yay!
Bye-bye.